So as the regions that developed runes and runes historically, as they developed spiritually and culturally and socially, that spiritual development started to weave into the original symbols of the runes. And the runes grew into an esoteric tradition as the peoples of those runes grew spiritually and explored their cosmologies. Runes are therefore deeply connected to the local wisdom, to the geographical wisdom of Scandinavia and of those peoples there. And the mythologies, the study of the Nordic mythologies and ways of thinking illuminate us and help us guide ourselves into the exploration of that wisdom in a way that we can access the collective unconscious well where runes are sourced from. So as with any esoteric tradition, it is not stable or stagnant. As the peoples, as the descendants of spiritual lineages grow, they gather from the past. They inherit the wisdom of their ancestors. But they're also tasked with evolving that wisdom in their lifetime and putting more pieces together. And this is very relevant to the Rune KENAZ. KENAZ means torch. The root word for KENAZ, there's many etymologies within KENAZ that we can shuffle through that help us illuminate what KENAZ is, what the etymological tree of KENAZ is. Because runes teach us that words are magic. And words are connected with sound. And they're also connected with spiritual principles. So when words are in bundles etymologically, when they're related throughout time and regions and histories, those set of words form a wisdom tradition around the topic that help us see what a word is tied to spiritually. KENAZ, and the verb ken means to know. And really interesting with that verb, which let me check exactly where that verb is from. One moment. The English verb ken, also Dutch and German. Kennen is to know or to be familiar with. And it also suggests the capacity to be able to know. So let's go back to KENAZ, to its symbol. I'll show you the symbol of what KENAZ is, if it can be seen like that. So similar to the flame, which starts here and shines outwards, associated with fire, the torch, the flame, and the light. The light that shines from within. KENAZ belongs to the first Eet of the Elder Furhark. The Aetir are the divisions of the Furhark into 3 sets of 8, and each of those sets is an Eet. A-E-T-T. So KENAZ belongs to the first Eet in the Furhark. Freya Answin, a brilliant teacher in the Nordic tradition, equates the first 8 of the Furhark with primordial creation. That first 8 is connected to primordial creation, our primordial origins, which is very fitting because KENAZ is the fire, the flame. As we remember in the beginning of the poem, the torch familiar to the living, a flame, is blinding and brilliant. And it's interesting how they say to the living, because as we will see, KENAZ is also associated with the dead, but it takes on different aspects for the living and for the dead. For the living, fire is a source of community survival. It is the thing that sustains communities. It is the elemental, one of the elemental principles of survival is fire and warmth. So this sigil brings us back to our earliest ancestors and their feeling about fire and their dependence on fire. But runes are all about the secrets within the elements. The esoteric nature of the earth, the blending of the earth, of the worlds, of Yggdrasil, with Yggdrasil's wisdom, and with the journeyers within the realm of Yggdrasil, with their wisdom. The runes were gained upon Yggdrasil in a shamanic initiation by Odin. So we see this blending of nature and knowledge that is primary, that is central to any shamanic traditions, of which the Northern Mysteries are a part. So the fire that nourishes a community, that sustains a community, that allows it to survive, is esoterically akin to the wisdom and the knowledge that is able to sustain a community. It is the stories of our ancestors, the wisdom of our ancestors, that teach us how to relate to the earth, that teach us the knowledge that allow us to navigate in awareness and nobility. So I associate KENAZ with the knowledge. The KENAZ person, and I'm really associating KENAZ with a person or an archetype, because that's how it came through with me. The KENAZ person warms the community through their knowledge and their wisdom that they have inherited ancestrally in order to bring back to the community. In the Nordic tradition, and in many traditions, in many ancestral-based traditions, which Nordic culture, religion is ancestrally based, we believe that we inherit the wisdom of our ancestors. Through our blood, through our bodies, through our connection to the earth and the spirit worlds. Those ancestors have deep wisdom that has allowed them to not only manage their environments, but move through their environments in a way that is sacred and wise and hopefully compassionate and caring. So the KENAZ person is someone who will often be noticed from a young age and throughout the development of their life to be deeply endowed with the wisdom and the knowledge of the ancestors. It is like a spirit on their tongue that speaks through them again. So that we do not forget the wisdom and the knowledge of the ancestors. We are born again and again into these lineages, into these roles that allow the flame of knowledge to not go out. KENAZ is holding that torch. KENAZ is warming the community heart, the community soul, with stories and knowledge that sustains them, both physically and culturally, like the fire, earth, and spirit. Which is why I associated KENAZ with the primordial creation stories of our cosmology, or with the Vanir, who I believe in a certain way represent our more prehistoric ancestors who are developing shamanism, or seiter, which is a form of earth and spirit magic accredited to the Vanir and Freya. A KENAZ person, someone who KENAZ is coming to, however that may be, dreams, seeing the symbol in places around you, symbolism connected to KENAZ may be coming to you, the torch, the flame, the light, hidden knowledge. When KENAZ comes to you, we are being initiated, and initiation is a big keyword associated with this rune, into an ancestral, esoteric, or occultic form of teaching and learning. It creates conditions where we are emboldened to be the teacher and capable of being the student, because we remember that ken, as a verb, as an Old English verb, does not only mean to know, but also to be able to know. So it reflects an inherent psychological capacity to be able to review knowledge, to dive into knowledge, to dive into the unknown, into the dark, and have a lantern within you, the candle behind the writer's desk, the candle on the magician's table, that allows them to focus on the knowledge that they're gaining and learn it. So it's a process of learning and teaching. And when KENAZ comes to us, we might be being brought into a particular teaching, and perhaps into the runes themselves, for this is a very beneficial rune to begin the walk into new territories of knowledge and new traditions. Yeah. So another word that KENAZ is related to is the Dutch word kunst, K-U-N-S-T, kunst, which means art or craft. It's also related to cunning, or kunt, which has more witchcraft elements, which we can explore later. But focusing on art or craft, and the Scandinavian word kraftwerk is originally spelled with a K. So art or craft related to KENAZ suggests that the knowledge, the teaching, the flame that one carries may be easily transmitted, effectively transmitted through the arts. I often associate it with storytelling. As a storyteller myself, it's the speaking around the fire, the stories around the fire, that I relate to the art of KENAZ. But others, all of us, may explore different ways. What is the way that your ancestral wisdom comes through you? Is it a mode of teaching? How is your art a mode of teaching? It's very beautiful when we're able to blend teaching with art. It brings the soul and the heart alive into the teachings. It warms the heart, and we are trying to create cultures and wisdom cultures that warm us. Yeah. I'm gonna pause it right here.